Hello everyone, this is Venugopal. Today we will see how to print null values if an array contains, how to print that values that we will see in one program. For this we will consider one program, we'll create one class inside my package array programs. The program name is demo null. I have one class here, but I'll declare one more class student. Inside the class, we'll have two variables, roll number and name of the student. And we'll have one constructor, student, which take the values int r number and string name. This is what we are converting the local values into the instance values, instance variables. That is r number equals to r number. This dot name equals to name. And the main method, from main method, will pass the values. So to pass the values, here we need to create the object of the class. Student S equals to, suppose I am creating one of multiple objects. So S1 equals to new student. The student constructor is taking the parameters. So we need to pass the parameters. Suppose 101. And the name is, for example, Om. I'll create three objects. Object will be changed S2 and S3. 102, 103. The name will be like Vijay, Srinivas. So 3 times the constructor will be called. And suppose here I want to create the object, array of object. So how to create the array of object? Student of 0. Suppose I want to assign the objects 0 equals to, sorry, first I need to create the object. Student SS is equals to new of student. I want to create, like, for example, this is called as array of object. You might be learning the C++, right? So it will allocate how many spaces? 5 memory spaces for the student, right? Now I'll assign the values to this particular objects. That is SS of 0. As the index always starts with a 0. I'll assign this object because this object contains what? The roll number and name. So S1. Similarly, Control C, Control V. This would be 1. This would be 2. This would be 3. This would be 2. Control V, 4. Because 5 we have created. 5 objects for the student. So I'm assigning the 5 different values. Sorry, this would be 3. This is 3 and this is 4. Sorry, but I've created only 3 objects, so I can't assign like this. So I'll leave this. Okay, so let us try to print this 3 data. We know that to print the data, we can use the for each loop, right? Right hand side would be the reference variable. So my reference variable is what here? SS. In the left hand side, which type of reference, that is student type of reference. Suppose here I will use std, and if I'll print the data, this out. I want to print the data. How to print that data? Std dot r number plus, I just want to give one space here, and then plus std dot, what is my string name, student name. I just wanted to print the data. Simple program. Clear? This will invoke the constructor. The values will be assigned to this. Then I have created the array of object of size 5. But here I have assigned only 3 objects. So just we are checking what will be the other values data, like SS of uh, like 3 and 4. Okay, so we'll execute this program. It is giving one exception. What is that exception? I'll double click on this. It's giving what? Because yesterday's null at array program, com array programs demo null. It's giving null pointer exception, right? But when it is giving null pointer exception, after printing my these 3 values, right? But if I'll print with the normal primitive data type, you might be getting the values of like what? If I not initialize the values, right? It will be initialized with what? 0 in case of we have seen for the integer. But this time, this type is not a primitive data type. It is a user type. So whenever we are using user type, right? And if I'm not printing the value, it actually should print the null values. But here it is not printing the null values, right? Suppose we'll do one more thing. If I'm not assigning this also, let me check what happened. I'm giving values to the 0th index and 2nd index. If I execute, again you will get what? Only the first value. But afterwards, it is not printing the remaining values, because remaining values, surely that should contain what? Null values. Because if we are not initializing, right? Just we have seen with the arrays, in the integer arrays, if you are not initializing, it should print what? It should print a null values, but it is not printing null values. What is the reason? Because whenever we are trying to print the data, we are only creating the type of what? We are creating type that is student type. So if the data is going to be sending in the student form only, like roll number and name, then only it will print what? The given data. If it is not right, then it will give the null pointer exception error. Now, how to avoid this particular null pointer exception, right? To do so, what do, we can do like this here. Suppose instead of this directly printing, I'll change the format for each. The problem is what? In the right hand side, we are using what? We are using the reference variable. What is the reference variable? That is SS. Okay, but the left hand side, what we have used initially? Student. Okay, but whenever the data is there, then only it is going to print that value. But if the data is not there, it is printing the error. So that is the reason why what we will do, the return type, or you can say the data type here, will use the general class that is called as an object class. Which class? Object class. Object is the super class of every class, right? It is a root class of the object. That means what? It can hold what? Both the type of data, normal data as well as null data. Okay, if the data is not provided, it will hold that null data here. Now what we will do, we are checking with here whether the data is coming from the student side, or it will be coming as a null data. So what we will do, we'll take one property, right, which returns the type of object, that is called as the instance of operator. Instance of operator will give what? The type of object. Instance of what? Instance of student. Okay. Spelling. Instance of operator. Oh, spelling is, that's the reason why it is showing a red line. Okay, no problem. Now we are checking here. Okay, what type? If the student type, whatever the data is coming, for example, student type data is coming, it will capture into the O, which is the reference of object class. Now, what we will do, if the data is coming of student type, we'll convert that into the object type. Sorry, the data will be, if the data is of student type, we'll convert into the student type. Okay, so how to do that? Just a minute. We know the data, right? We need to convert into student type. The student std, suppose I'll take here, equals to typecasting into what? Student type, and here the O reference. Okay, and immediately what we will do, we'll print if the data is of the student type, we'll print that data. How to print the data? Std dot what? R number plus space, or you can give dash, anything here. Okay, again concatenation std dot name. That's it. But if suppose the data is of type, it's returning suppose null, means no data is there. Suppose this O, that is the reference of object class, if it is returns null, then I want that data also. In the previous program, that means in this program only, we have not taken this kind of thing. That is the reason why whenever the null data is coming, nobody is able to handle the data. But right now, we are writing logic for that also. So it is O. Okay, so simply what we are doing here in the primitive data type, if you are not mentioning the remaining assignments, right, it will print the default values. But whenever you're using user type, right, so it will definitely print only the user type data only. But what if the data is not there, so it will returning what? Null. So to handle null, what we are doing, the return type we have changed to object. Then we are checking if it is the type of student data, then just to convert that data into the student type and print that data. If it is not there, if the data is of type null, then store into this reference variable and print that reference variable. So if I'll execute this now, you can observe now you are getting what? Null values. In the previously, you are getting what? A null pointer exception. Right? So this is very important whenever you're working in a online projects, real-time projects, right? You should know how to typecast the, and to handle the various type of data, what data type you should use? You should use the object return type. Okay, even if you are changing the values here like that, for example, I'm not doing suppose I'm not assigning this one now. Instead of this, I'm assigning 2. Instead of this, I'm assigning 4. Right? You know that continuous memory locations. In the one location and third location, we are expecting to be print what? Null values. Observe the output. You're getting null value and null value. This will happen only because that we have taken this kind of logic here, the typecast. I hope you are getting, right? So we will come up with some more videos. Till then, bye bye.